All right. Welcome back to Positive Influence. We're going to have a great show on this one today. Looking forward to getting my guest on here. We had some hiccups where I had some medical issues where I couldn't get him on previously too, but he was patient with me and we finally got him on the show. We're going to be talking to him here very shortly. I want to tell everyone thank you for being here and watching the show. Just to go ahead and remind you, please remember to go ahead and like, subscribe, and share today. Subscribing is very important, not because it'll make me a millionaire by any means, because anybody who thinks that is just not doing the math correctly in their head. I'm doing this because I get more exposure from my guests. So the more I have subscribing to this, the more exposure from my guests, and the more that you'll learn more about these people that I have on here, just like this guy right here. Here's Fabrice Sapolsky.
Hi.
What's going on, Fabrice?
Thanks for having me. I'm cool. This is a beautiful day in New York. So yeah.
There you go. Well, go ahead and let people know, who exactly you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
Okay, so the four forward pitch is I'm the New Jack Hustler at Fair Square Comics. But I'm also like in extenso, I am a writer, artist, editor, publisher, letterer, designer, colorist, you name it, I can do it. I'm basically a nightmare for people for HR because every time I don't know any skill and I'm interested, I will acquire that skill. So it's like that's my superpower.
There you go.
I guess. And so I've been in this business for 25 years. And I published 5 graphic novels under my name, one of which was with Marvel Comics. Maybe we're going to talk about that later. And the 4 others were at various publishers until I founded Fair Square Comics, which now is my home and where I publish most of my stuff. That doesn't mean that I won't work with other publishers in the future. I'm always available if they have me. But for the time being, my home is Fair Square Comics, where we publish about 20 titles a year. So that keeps me busy.
Oh, I'm sure it does. It sounds like it. I mean,
yeah.
That's a lot of titles per year to go ahead and drop under the banner there. That's staying consistent with that. So that I give you kudos on that one for sure. But
thank you very much.
I want to kind of take the DeLorean back on this one. We're going to go 88 miles an hour and go back in time on this one to whenever you first started this. You said you've been doing this for about 25 years. What's your story in getting started? Was it more of the artist side? Was it the writer? Was it, what part of it really just grabbed your attention and you just held on for the time being?
So it's funny because as people know that about me, I'm an immigrant. I'm an immigrant and minority creator. So I was born and raised in Paris, France. And I kind of like started by accident. And when I say by accident, it was like I was on my couch reading an issue of Spider-Man in 1998. And at the time, my wife at the time, been married several times, so that was my first wife. I said to her, why isn't there any good news magazine about American comics in France? And she said, I don't know, maybe you can do it. And 2 weeks later, I decided to test my idea. I took a train to Angoulême for the International Comics Festival, and me and my wife and another guy, we decided to create a magazine called Comic Box. So I started actually as a journalist covering American comics. And Comic Box had several lives. It failed. It was reborn. It was just like any real comic characters. And it's still around, actually. I'm not involved with it anymore, but in my home country, Comic Box is still around. It's still published as a MOOC, which is a magazine book, a couple times a year. And the latest issue came out in September, I think, of 2022. So I know they're working on the new one, but it's still around. So that's a source of pride and joy that this little thing that I started like in my living room 25 years ago is still around 25 years after. So, and then after that, I mean, one thing's leading to another. I got an idea. I pitched my idea. I became a writer. And I love being a writer, but it was very limiting from a distance. So I decided to move to the US. And in the US, I discovered tabling at conventions, which I absolutely adore. I'm still doing 20 conventions a year. And because this is my happy place. I really love talking to people, being with my peers. It really is a very important moment in my life to be at conventions. And but I was not making money at shows as a writer. And a couple of my friends said, well, maybe you should start drawing. You're a designer, so shouldn't be that hard. Well, it was very hard. And it took me about 10 years to get to the point where I could have the skills to be able to sell my art. So, which is the case now. So, and I'm still improving, and I'm still learning, and I'm still like working every day on making my art better. It's a fight. It's like a muscle. You need to practice. So I'm practicing every day my art, trying to find new ways to get better. And it allowed me to do more shows, and now I'm doing covers and like I'm gonna have even a 4-page story that I wrote and drew this year that was going to be published. Actually, at another publisher, is not at my company. But yeah, so basically, all that led me to start my new life in the U.S. I was an editor at various places, various companies, French companies, U.S. companies, and in 2020. After being let go by my former employer, which at the time was Humanoids, I decided that it was maybe the time to become my own publisher, since it was very challenging to find work. Mm-hmm. So, and here we are. I'm Fair Square Comics.
Oh, that is awesome. I mean, I love the story about how you took the obstacle that was in front of you of 2020, and you actually made something out of it. Because I've talked to a lot of people that was a breaking point for some people that I've talked to, and they're like, okay, we gave it up for a year or two. We're trying it back now, but they let that consistency and that forward movement and that tempo go away. And you actually took it, I've already got the tempo and the movement. I'm just going to redirect. Now it's going to come over this way toward my name instead of going toward the other company's name. I like that.
Well, it's also, you have to remember that being an immigrant, there's already a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulties that go with the simple factor of not knowing everything, English not being my first language, and struggling to just get to places where Americans would go very easily. Mm-hmm. So, and even though I've been here for 8 years, so it's not nothing, but it's still a challenge. So for me, it was clear that if my will was not strong, I would never have gone anywhere. So I guess the simple answer is like, I want it more than everybody else. And that's why. Like, I am extremely stubborn and I'm very dedicated. Comics are very, very important in my life.
And I love that right there is kind of the focus of what these shows are all about, that I talk to these people and all my guests and everything up here. And I'm bringing you up here today. And I always bring up that, how positivity and how passion in your work, has fueled you to get to where you are. And you've already kind of brought that up in a nutshell on that, moving up to this point. And again, I've got to commend you on that, because you've had a lot of things that have been up against, you've been up against on, and you've just,
oh my God. Yeah.
You basically just,
I've been taken advantage of so many times. Yeah. I've been hurt. I've been bruised, but I'm battling Jack. I will never give up.
That is
my battling Jack minus the end.
Yes, exactly. Now, moving forward, I'm still going to ask some more questions on this, but we're going to show some of the artwork behind. As we're doing this, we'll kind of go through. There are some of them that you did the work on. There's some of them that you have that's underneath your label. You're going to go ahead and kind of give us the answers on those as we go through. Yeah. But there's some beautiful things on here. it's.
Ooh, all right. So, A Boy Named Rose. It's actually a book that we just announced as part of the solicitations for June. So that book comes out in I think it's June 28th in comic book stores and July 11th in bookstores. And it's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful album. It's 224 pages. It has this animated style, and it's the story of a boy who wanted to be a girl to dance. So it is LGBTQ plus friendly. It has a heart, it has a soul, and it has a style.
Nice. And then, I mean, you've got other things you're showing on here. I mean, everybody knows, Marvel. Everybody knows that right there.
Mhm.
But the indies are trying. They're getting the spotlight to a degree. They're not getting near what they deserve. Don't get me wrong. Everybody knows that. But it's very cool whenever you're able to kind of build off of that and use that to kind of give you a push as well. So explain to us exactly what this is with this here.
Okay, so but I just want to add something up about A Boy Named Rose just
Oh,
before,
yes,
because
absolutely.
it allows me to just develop one of my favorite uh, way of thinking, which is when you are a small publisher and you're looking at the market and you think that, oh, like the biggest, the finest spots, the biggest spots have been taken, the finest tables have been taken at the restaurant. Where am I going to sit? And you do counter programming, and counter programming is pretty much what we're doing every time we have an opportunity to make something different. We're doing it, and this book is actually a license. This book has been published in France. It's also the interesting thing about being a French person. I have access to French publishers and French content, and I can actually understand it. So it's easy for me to pick the finest ones that I can get, and then go to the publisher and say, hey, I would like to take the rights for the American market or the English speaking market. And A Boy Named Rose by Gaël Genier is exactly that. Like, when I stumbled upon this thing, it was clear that yes, it's going to be a big book, 224 pages. It's going to cost $30, but it's so beautiful, so different, and so authentic that no other publisher could do it but us. And I don't know if, I mean, again, I don't remember which kind of image I sent you, so I'm going to rediscover it as we go. But there are a few books like this where, since we released them, we realized that it's working because no other American publisher could have done it the way we're doing it, because we're like this bridge between Europe and the US.
Exactly.
And that is great. That is great. It's actually something that I did not anticipate before, but I'm happy to carry on.
And I will say,
Anyhow,
mentioning about being the bridge, that's there, that is a huge thing, because people aren't taking advantage of building bridges. We're tearing more of them down than we're building, and there are
exactly.
that can be built. And for you to do that again, this is something where people need to look at it as, we need to do more of what like he's doing out here. Build those bridges. Don't tear them down.
And I mean, when we talk about like more the other books, and I don't want to kind of like spoil, but there's something that I always say, and I think it's kind of the rule of thumb here: the audience never lies. That's also one of the reasons why I like to do shows, because I put the books on the tables, I just show the books to people, and I see how they react.
Yes.
And 9 out of 10, my gut feeling was right. And I'm not saying I'm a genius, not at all. It's just that when you're honest about doing what you're doing, when you're presenting the books you believe in and you fight for them,
yes,
then people realize that, they understand that. And too many publishers are just, for them, the books are either a product or it's just another book. Not for us. We're fighting for each book like it was the last one on earth.
Yep.
Absolutely. And it's extremely important. So, Art of Ariel Olivetti. Let's switch to the second one, because this is very interesting. So, as you see a lot of Marvel and DC characters on here. So, what are we doing here? So, it was also an interesting story. So, last year, we were approached by an Argentinian team. Ariel Olivetti is from Argentina. He's one of the artists that I've known for like, I don't know, 15, 17 years. We did a book together called One Hit Wonder. And so this other guy from Argentina, his name is Matias, Mats. Mats came to me and said, hey, we want to publish our catalog of books in the US, but we don't have a partner. And it's kind of like difficult because we come from Argentina. We don't know all the market, all the finesse. And we feel like we're immigrants like you will understand. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let's look at the catalog. And I saw this book among other books that we're probably going to see in a minute. And I said, sure. Ariel Olivetti is a friend. He's a guy I worked with. I have tremendous respect for. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do Art of Ariel Olivetti. And so the book is coming out early May. It will be in 2 editions, one softcover, one hardcover, and it will be available everywhere books are sold. It's over 100 pages of the behind the scenes, the thing that he never shows to anybody. And having worked with Ariel, I can tell you that there's a lot of information that people have no idea how it works. Like it really is an incredible process. So yes. If you're a fan of art, painted art, traditional, digital, he does both. You have to get a copy. You have to get your hands on this book. It really is a wonderful surprise. It's also a great gift. So do yourself a favor. Buy Art of Ariel Olivetti. You can pre-order from now, but it will be in stores early May.
Very nice. And I mean, you mentioning about, the process of the art and everything. I'm one of those guys that I love seeing it whenever it's on a napkin at Waffle House, from years back, that becomes where it's actually a cover or interiors or, whatever it's going to be at that time. I love seeing that process.
And so this book and this new partner, their name is Alien Books. Mm-hmm. And Alien Books, that's something we may also touch upon a little later. Fair Square Comics has a color-coded system. So each one of our type of books have a different color, whether it's green, purple, blue, and we gave Alien Books their own color because they're different. And the great thing about having a partner that comes with a different sensibility, and they come from Argentina, I come from France, is they bring also some books that I'll never pick. Like, for example, you'll never find a horror book at Fair Square Comics. But Alien Books, they're coming with a catalog that has horror, that has superheroes, that has art books, that has science fiction, fantasy. All these things, you won't find them at Fair Square Comics, but you will find them at Fair Square Comics because through Fair Square Comics Gold, Alien Books is bringing them to us.
Nice. And that gives you a whole different market viewership that's available out there, because you have somebody that's horror and then they'll look at yours, seeing that's attached, working together on this as partners, and go, wait a minute, I never thought about this kind of book, but I really like the way this is done.
Exactly. And also I really love the idea that when 2 outsiders like us are banding together, and it makes us stronger. And I really think that will be the case, because the guys at Alien Books, they have a very different way of working. Their sensibility is different, and I appreciate that we're not stepping on each other's toes. We complement each other. It's really, really a good pairing.
Exactly. And then of course we got this cover as well.
That is the soft cover. The other one was the hard cover. Yeah.
So if you're a Batman fan, soft cover's there for you. If you're if you're a fan of Batman and you want the hardcover, I'm sure you can get a sticker or something to put on there if you need to.
Well, that's also why, we when Alien Books came with this project, they wanted to have 2 different covers for the 2 different editions. So you can buy both.
Yes, and I love the fact that Marvel and DC, yes, are the big 2 in there, but I've already seen you had Savage Dragon, Image Comics, and of course now you got Space Ghost in there. Come on, you're getting all the bases on this, showing that it's not just the big 2. I love that.
Yes. Beyondtopia Legends. So that's a great opportunity to talk about this series, which is a series that was, again, because as you might remember, Fish Square Comics is an immigrant and minority-owned company. So our slogan is actually comics from the rest of us, which means that we are different. We are all immigrants and minorities at the company, and the people who are working with us are mainly that. But we're targeting our comics for everybody. Like we don't want to talk to any community in particular. We want every comic book fan to be able to enjoy it. Like the same way you saw a lot of non-Black kids with Black Panther cosplays.
Yes.
And I love this because that shows the universality of Black Panther. We want our books to be really geared towards everybody, the biggest amount of different categories of people.
Yes.
So this book came through two guys that I absolutely love. Henry Barajas, who's a Latinx writer. He's working on various stuff. He's very respected in the business. And Brian Valenza, who is also hugely respected in the business, one of the best color artists in the world. And Brian had this project. He has been working on this for years, before he even met Henry, and before he even met me. And so when we got together, they were like, we have this anthology series, Beyondtopia Legends. We don't really know how we can do it in the US. And I said, well, you came to the right person, because I will love this book as much as I love my own books. And I absolutely adore it. This cover here is from Philip Tan, who's like a huge deal. But we have two other covers. One was from Steven Segovia, and another one from Karen Darbo. It was a 3-issue miniseries. Unfortunately, we just announced that we won't be able to release the third issue, but in July of 2023, the trade paperback will have all the issues and more, because we're prepping more material to compensate for the loss of that third issue. But the direct market is sometimes very cruel, and when the numbers are not there, it's really complicated to maintain the title. So we don't want to insult anyone, and we want to support the book, and so we're going to give it the best possible chances we can through the graphic novel and the collected edition in July.
Nice.
That's another issue. That's the issue that actually won't be published, issue 3. But yes.
See, and I love
it's a great cover.
This one real quick, because on this one, because I am known as Demon Phil, I love the Oni mask that's right on here. That's being represented.
Yeah.
So
it's from a story that this demon here is from a story called Bandits of Batavia. That's the first story of the book. So you're gonna enjoy it very much.
Nice. And then we've got the Black Box.
The Black Box. The Black Box is one of my books. It's a book that I wrote in 2011 with Tom Lyle, the late Tom Lyle, on art. And Tom and I did that for the French market. And the book remained unpublished in the US until 2022, when Fair Square Comics released it. It's a very important book for me. It's a very important book for me because it's first, I can honor, releasing it in the US allowed me to honor a friend who passed away, and Tom Lyle was a very, very good friend of mine. But also, I think it's a story that people will want to read. It's a spy thriller with a little bit of supernatural, where a group of outcasts, there's a lot of outcasts in my world, you'll understand that. It's probably because of my personal story. A group of outcasts, a historian, a political journalist, and a sound engineer find this music box in the National Archives, and instead of playing music, the box has been recording every conversation in the White House for 200 years. So it packs a lot of secrets, and they will be obsessed with retrieving the box and make it talk. Yes. And so this was released in late August of last year as a single issue, as a one-shot in the direct market, and it will come back in a collected edition with other tales called Classified. Classified is actually one of the few collections that we have. So it's Classified, something like Classified the Black Box, Classified Jaeger, Classified Spider next year. So we have a bunch of classified books, and in the end, we're just putting them together and have an anthology book.
I love the way that that's set up with the classified books and having it set up that way. It almost gives it where, like, by purchasing this and having this in your collection, now you have the clearance to go ahead and read these. So it gives you that feeling that you have that power now to read these. I already love the way that that's set up.
Yes.
And then we've got, of course, this is another cover for it.
Yes, that was the previous one was cover C. This one from Philip Sevy. Let's mention Philip Sevy. Great guy. And this one is the original cover from Tom Lyle.
Nice.
And let me tell you, if you've seen Tom Lyle from the 90s and you never heard about Tom Lyle since then, it's the best thing that Tom Lyle has ever drawn.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a bold statement. And that is my cover. I drew that.
Nice.
Yep. My name is on it.
And this again is from somebody who you wear basically all of these different hats simply because you wanted to learn to be able to keep up with the pace on everything. And anytime anybody told you couldn't do it, you're like, give me a moment, let me figure this out, and you come back with this.
Exactly. But I mean, my story is the story of a guy who has hard time being said no to. So when I was 21, I wanted to be a graphic designer, but I studied history in college. And so I went to a design school, and we were the early 90s. So it was like a long time ago. It was the beginning of graphic design. At the time, it was even called desktop publishing. Can you remember that? Oh, dear.
Oh, yes.
And so I wanted to learn. And all the schools in Paris, they didn't want to pick me up because I was already in college. And they said to me, like, well, you look smart. You're going to be fine. You'll find a way. And I didn't want to let go. So I'm self-taught. I taught myself how to design, how to use the programs. I read tons of books. And it was before the internet, before you could go to YouTube and get any tutorial for yourself. So, yeah. And so I became a professional designer. Then I wanted to write. And people was like, oh, a designer never writes. Well, then I'm going to prove you wrong. So I'm going to write. And then once I finally it's I want to draw. Oh, you can draw. I mean, writers don't draw. Very few. Well, I'll prove you wrong. So, it's just, I don't like being said no to.
And I love that mentality because, again, there are too many people that try to just drag people down, and it's whenever you go ahead and stand up going, I don't know yet, but you know what? I'm going to learn. And then you come back with something like this, and they're looking at you going,
exactly. And I mean, look, when I started doing Kickstarter campaigns, I realized that all these other campaigns had great promo reels and clips, and I'm like, oh, I need to learn how to edit. I need to learn After Effects. I need to learn Premiere. I need to learn all these programs, and I did, and now I'm doing it. Like, I'm an OMAC. I'm a one-man Army Corps.
That's great. And then we've got Blood, Love, Ghost, and Deadly Spell. The name alone has already got me like, oh, I got to have this. This is cool.
So if you look at it, you'll see that it's one of those Alien books titles that we partner with. And Damien Connolly has kind of made waves last year with a book called You Promised Me Darkness. And our partner for Alien Books, Matt, that I was mentioning earlier, he's actually he's managing Damien. So it's it's perfect.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like I said, it's got a cool title to get you involved as is. The artwork draws you in. So this is definitely one of those that if you have somebody that's following you for your stuff and for what you've been working on and everything, and then you're partnered with them and they look at this going, wait a minute, so they have something different as well. So as you said, it's a cohesive partnership where y'all work off of each other.
Exactly. You would never see that with us. And also, so this is another anthology. So this is funny because there are a lot of publishers who say, oh, we don't do anthologies because they don't work for us. But actually, for Fair Square Comics, it's quite the opposite. We do a lot of anthologies because anthologies are working for us. So, yeah, it's another anthology, but at the same time, well, that's another cover. That's cover B. And then you probably have cover C after. Yep, there you go, cover C. So, and let me tell you this, it comes out late April in stores, in comic book stores. It will be comic book stores exclusive. So it's not going to go to the bookstores. But the book, the final orders are not in, but the book is practically sold out. Like, it's practically sold out at the distributor's level. So we're probably going to have to go back to press and reprint. So whoever you are, place your order right now.
Yes. Yes, because you don't want to miss out on that first printing.
Exactly. Breath of the Giant is that's another example of a book that we sourced in France at a publisher called Sarbacane. And it's a beautiful story. I call it The Lumberjanes Meet the Hobbit. So you have this adventure that has these two sisters, heroes, and they have the master. I mean, they try to master magic, and this is a book about acceptance. It's a book about losing a parent and having a hard time accepting the fact that your mom is gone and will never go back. So when these two sisters hear the legend that there's a magical way of bringing their mother back, they will go on the other side of the mountain to steal the breath of a giant, and thanks to that ingredient, get their mom back. And what happens, you'll have to read in the book. It's an all ages book, but let me tell you, after carrying it at a couple of festivals for the past 3 months, adults, teenagers, kids, everyone stops and want to take a look at Breath of the Giant. It's one of our best sellers already. We're selling hundreds of copies a week in bookstores and comic book stores and comic book shows. It really is like a great book. It's a book that every member of the family should and could read.
Very nice. And there's another one of your classifieds.
Well, okay, that's funny because that's the old cover. So I don't know when I sent you this, but I actually should have sent you the new cover. Can I do that now? Or it's too late?
You should be able to. Yeah, I can pull it up here in a moment.
Okay, so let me give me a millisecond to send you this cover because I think people have the right to know because I designed a better cover.
Oh yeah.
Well,
we can definitely double back to it. It's not a problem.
Yes.
Again, going with that idea that you have of the different classified books that have the different stories and makes up the classified series, that I think is a very cool idea to have that under the label on there and just have it where it's a bunch of Mission Impossible assignment type things in there, but they're a lot more detailed than the actual Mission Impossible stuff.
Exactly. Of course, it won't let me send it to you, so that's beautiful. How do I do that?
The joys of technology sometimes.
I have an idea. If
you send it in Messenger, I should be able to get it through there too.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. There you go. You have it.
All right. So what is Classified Jaeger?
So Classified Jaeger is actually the very first classified book that we put out last year. And it was in comic book stores only, and it was a huge success for us. It's written and illustrated by Ibrahim Mustafa, who is an amazing creator from Portland. And Ibrahim and I, we've known each other for a few years, and we've always wanted to do something together. When I was working at Humanoids, I actually brought him there, and he signed a 3-book deal with them. Which he's ending now. And after I was let go, I said to him, like, look, it's not because I'm not there anymore that we can't work together. Do you have anything? And he said, well, I have this thing, but I don't know if you want it because it's only 60 pages. I mean, it's actually 50 pages and with the bonuses is 60. And I said, like, let's do this. Let's try. And it was a great excuse for me to create that new collection called Classified, because then I had Classified Jaeger, Classified the Black Box, and then it helped me create this new platform. And it's a Cold War spy story where the hero, he's a survivor of World War II. He's been tortured by the Nazis, and then after the war, he becomes a secret agent for the MI6. And his first mission happens to be tracking down the man who happens to be the guy who tortured him in the camps. So there's a crisis conscience. Is he gonna go on with the mission? Is he going to kill the guy out of retaliation? It's a psychological thriller, and it's really an awesome book. It's well written, well drawn. It's just a gift. It's a gift.
That sounds great, and we're going to dig more into this here very shortly. Right now, I think it's a good time to segue in, because we're talking about, some of the files that are going on with Classified and things. So whenever you're talking files, we got to talk about Little Rock Files, because that's a Kickstarter that you've got that'll be launching very soon.
Yes.
If you want to go ahead and talk about that and let people know what to expect from that one.
Little Rock Files, and I can give you exclusively. These are the new bookmarks that we're going to distribute first at C2E2 at the end of the week. C2E2 is from March 31st to April 2nd. And so on one side, you have the covers of our most recent books. And on the other, you have a QR code that will take you to Little Rock Files, the Kickstarter. And Little Rock Files actually is part of another brand that started it all, actually, called Noir's the New Black. So Noir's the New Black was a Kickstarter that we launched in the summer of 2020. And it came out of a conversation between my friend TC Harris and myself. And we were talking about what happened to George Floyd and how angry we were. And TC is Black, and he said to me this words that I will never forget. He said, well, if you really want to be an ally and you care so much, well, do what you know how to do best. Make a comic book about it. And we both brainstormed, and we both came up with this collection, this anthology called Noir's the New Black, which is 16 noir stories from 40 Black creators. And there are a few things that we wanted for that collection. One, all the creators keep their rights. And it's something, I mean, I hope we have the time to talk about creators' rights, because this is a subject that I'm very much passionate about. And this also how we came to create the color system, the color-coded system at Fairfax Comics. So we created this anthology, so they had to keep their rights, and it had to be noir. And one of the stories in the book is a story called Owsley, which tackles a there you go, Noir's in the Black, the one that started it all. One of the stories is Owsley from Greg Burnham and Marcus Williams, that it deals with a detective in Arkansas that tries to solve a murder, but realizes that a lot of political figures are involved. There's a lot of things that should not be there and are interfering with this case, and this is bigger than he expected. And so he puts his nose into this thing, and he will be in a lot of trouble. So Greg and Marcus, when they offered the story, Greg always told me, he said, this is a small version, but I always wanted to do this as a big version. And a few months ago, I said to him, like, so what about this new version? And he said, let's do it. And so Marcus was not available. Marcus Williams was not available. So Quinn McGowan, who's also an artist that was in Noir's the New Black on another story called I'm blanking, Chasing the Night. Sorry, which is also a great story. And so Quinn and Greg partners to create the future of Owsley, which has been now labeled Little Rock Files because it happens in Arkansas. And the Kickstarter starts on Friday.
Nice. So, I mean, we have the link is actually embedded in the feed, so y'all can get over there and be reminded of the launch. And that, of course, once it goes live, will be your official link to go ahead and go straight into the campaign as well. But click that link, hit that reminder, because you don't want to miss out on this campaign going out there.
Nope.
And you want to hit it, pretty good from the beginning on this, just to make sure that you're going to get all the goodies that you want. Sometimes they wait until the end, and sometimes they're out of some of the ones that they had at the beginning. So be careful of that.
And we have some very cool early bird stuff. So the people who are going to, and they're limited.
Yes.
So the people who are going to pledge in the first 48 hours will have access to stuff that no one else has. So
nice. See, that's always stuff. That's always the fun stuff there, because you get the bragging rights that goes with it. You can go to cons, show that stuff off, and people are looking at your table and looking at the stuff that they're holding up, and they're like, wait a minute, where can I get that? And that's whenever the person holding it looks up and goes, you got to get on the Kickstarter. Sorry, you missed it.
And so the Kickstarter would come with 6 different covers. Actually 7 if you count the blank cover, but like 6 covers. Marcus Williams is doing a cover. Quinn McGowan is doing a cover. We're going to have Sean Demian Hill. And we're going to have Edwin Gallman, who's now a big star at DC. We're going to have this guy, Fabrice Sapolsky, does a cover. And we're going to have a sneakers cover, because there's a character in the book who loves sneakers. And we decided to design our own sneakers. Quinn is actually designing a pair of sneakers. And it will be on the characters. It's going to be in the goodies. And it's going to be on its own cover. So it's going to be cool. Yes.
Oh, that would be great. But I mean, again, so everyone knows this is going to be launching on Friday, so get ready for that one. But make sure you get that link. Like I said, it'll be embedded in the feed, so you can get to it really easy. Just click on that, be reminded, so that way you don't miss out on anything with this.
Absolutely.
You had sent me, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up because I went ahead and had time to bring this up now. This is the cover that you
the final covers. Yes. Don't you think it's better?
I do. I mean, I love the way that's set up like that.
Yes. After I did the previous cover, I was like, this is not good enough. I need to upgrade this. And so I came up with this idea of these 3 stripes thing, because you have 3 stories. You have the black boxes on the left, you have Jaeger in the middle, and you have another story called The Red Setter, which is a vigilante story that takes place in Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is the kind of gifts that you get. I met this comedian. Her name is Easy Salani, and she's Lebanese American, and she is one of us. She always wanted to do comics, and we met, and she did this short story, and hopefully we can make it a longer story. So
exactly,
the Red Setter is going to be there. People are going to enjoy it.
What I want to do now is, I don't want to run too much over on the time on this, but I still want to go ahead. We want to have time to go ahead and talk about, you want to bring up about creators' rights, and I definitely want to give you a chance to discuss about that before we start closing out the show and everything. But this is something, like you said, that is very much hits you kind of square in your own, front yard on this. Go ahead and let us know what's going on with this and what are your thoughts on this, and we can kind of discuss a little bit.
So, I mean, people who know a little bit what I did, they know that I started my career as a creator at Marvel, creating a character and co-creating a character with David Hine called Spider-Man Noir.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I just got the this is the Argentinian edition that was given to me, so that's funny.
Oh wow.
So I did that with David, and it was clear that it was going to be a work for hire. When we work for Marvel, it is totally fine that it's a work for hire. Now there's work for hire, and there's respect not for hire, respect for everything. And this is where a lot of people uh, assume that when you sign with those big studios, it comes with a big paycheck. It's going to change your life, and it's going to make you different. Let me tell you this. It didn't change my life. It didn't give me money. I was paid very little to create this. I don't see any money on the merchandise. I am not involved in any of the ancillary projects, whether it's the movies, the TV series that is going to come. I am absolutely not involved with that. Marvel is sovereign, and Marvel is doing their thing, and it's their right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be very clear that this is not what triggered my anger. I'm more annoyed when people keep tagging me for something that I did 15 years ago and never look at the material that I've put out since then. And again, I've put out 5 other graphic novels. So it's not nothing. Like, you have people, they did just one book and they live from that, and it's fine. But I'm not like that. I decided that I had other ideas that I thought were good enough to share. And I have these books called Intertwined, Lady Bird, Classify the Black Box, One Hit Wonder. There's going to be a new one coming up late May, which is going to be called The Last Jewish Daughter of Kaifeng, which is a spinoff to Intertwine. And I have another one called No Future that is coming out next year. So I'm still producing a lot of material, and and you feel like you're a musician. Like, okay, what you're doing now is nice, but how about you play your first hit? And I understand those musicians. Like, I don't want to play the hit that I was playing like 20 years ago. I'm not interested. I want people to care about what I'm doing now, because I'm a different person.
Right.
And I think I'm a better writer, and I'm a better artist, and I'm a better creator overall than I was when I started. And because Spider-Man Noir was my first comic book, and thank God I had David Hine. David Hine was seasoned. David Hine taught me everything I needed to know about writing and creating comics, because David was seasoned. David was great. He is great. And so I had a wonderful mentor in this business as a writer, and that was David Hine. So anyhow, long story short, I went to another publisher for One Hit Wonder before it ended up at Fair Square Comics. It was an Image. It didn't go well. Intertwine started at Dynamite. It didn't go well. So at one point I was like, what can we do better so that the creators, the comic book creators, are on a different position on the food chain?
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, we create the food chain, but we get the crumbs after everyone has taken their share.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works at most of the studios in this business. So I'm like, okay, we're going to design a system where the creator is front and center in this. And the creator is not, he's not treated like a child.
Right.
The creator is a partner.
Right.
So, and by saying that, that means that when we sign with the creator for a creator-owned book, we're showing them the budget. They approve the budget. They approve the print run. They approve the promotion. We're talking about the quality of paper. We're talking about where the book is going to be distributed. We're talking about the shows. We're talking about all the details that me as a creator, I set for myself. So I'm just simply extending what I'm doing for myself to others. It's the golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yes.
And so when we created Fair Square Comics with Crystal, my partner, and Ethan, my son, we started thinking on ways to make the creator better, better treated, better represented in the process of the book. And we came up with a color-coded system, for lack of better idea. Mm-hmm. And so you have 4 colors. You have Fair Square Green, which is for books that we own, and we are going to keep doing. And if we have other creators, we can do work for hire, but mostly us. Right. We own these IPs. You have Fair Square Purple, which is for full creator owned. And when I say full creator owned, that means that we don't take any inch of anyone else's creation. I personally don't care about having someone else's property, owning a piece of someone else's property, because I have my own, and I think my own are good enough that they deserve to be put out. So it's like we complement each other rather than being competition. Then we have Fair Square Blue, which is for the titles that we source from third-party publishers from around the globe. I mean, we talked about the title that came from France, but we're also going to buy stuff from Spain and probably Italy and probably Japan, and like we're talking to a lot of different publishers. And now you have Fair Square Gold, which is for Alien Books. So you have these 4 colors, and these 4 colors represent our approach when it comes to creators' rights. And so at first I thought, why are we doing this? Why are we telling people what we do? And to me, it was like putting our mouth where our money is and vice versa. It was for the creators. Like, creators, we're going to show you that we're legit and what we're doing is true. So we're printing it on the books. But then retailers started asking questions. What is the difference of color? And then the general public started asking questions that shows, why do you have different colors? And then we explain. And when we explain, people are like, that's exactly what we want to see. But look, when you call your company Fair Square, you have to be just that.
Exactly. And it makes complete sense. I mean, because too many times there are some people that get out there and they want to ride the coattails of somebody, or they want to go ahead and jump out there and put their product and then overshadow whatever's been out there before them. And it's never a 50-50 scenario. It kind of moves around so much more on the spectrum. So you've created a setup on there where everybody's happy, everybody's getting their names out there, and by color code, they're getting their names out there the way that they intended it to be in the first place.
That's something that even fans are not used to because no one else is doing. Like, I have people who come at shows and say, can you sign a copy of Noir is the New Black for me? And I always refuse, because I'm the publisher and the editor of that book. I'm not the talent.
Right.
And I explained to them, I'm not going to take away anything from these creators.
Right.
This is their book. I'm just the guy holding the mic.
Right.
So they need to sing. If you buy the book, they're at the same show, have them sign it. If they're not at the show and you cross paths with them in the future, have them sign it.
Yes.
You want me to sign a book? Buy one of mine. I have plenty of books.
Right.
So,
which makes total sense, because there are other publishers that have other IPs underneath them, and they have nothing to do with the artwork, the writing, anything. It's just under their publishing label. To ask them,
I guess that I'm also kind of like a unicorn, an exception, because you don't have that many creators that have their own labels. That is a mainstream label where they welcome other creators. Some are still doing it at Image, but less and less. Like Mark Silvestri used to be that, but all the books at Top Cow are now company owned, so they're only doing work for hire. All the books at Todd McFarlane Productions are also work for hire, and so and Todd is involved as much as he wants to in the books, but all the creators, they have no say. It remains a Todd McFarlane creation, and at Skybound, whatever you publish with them is going to be 50% for Skybound and 50% for you. So not that I'm judging, I just wanted to offer a different system. Where the creators are alpha and omega of everything they want to publish with us.
And you're definitely living up
to the name creators.
Oh, you're definitely living up to that name of Fair Square. Absolutely. I mean, and that's what's cool is people not only see it as that's an interesting name, they actually see what it is and what it's about, and they'll feel a lot more comfortable in any purchases they make because they know it's going to the right people. You know, it's not just something where it's going to one person who's getting richer while the creator and the writer and the artist or whatever at, certain labels and things is going to be like, it'd be nice to see some of that money over here. It's great that you're putting that at your table and selling it, but I'm never seeing the money.
Mhm.
And you're actually
Yeah.
making it where it's more of everybody enjoys the rewards out there instead of just one person.
Exactly. And again, it's the same thing with my level of investment, like in the books. Like when the book comes, I tell them like, you get an editor for free. I'm not going to charge you to edit your book because I'm the publisher. So you need an editor, I'll be your editor. You need a designer, I'll be your designer. You need a letterer, I'll be the letterer. It stays in the family. You don't have to pay extra for this. But at the end of the day, I want you to step out and defend that book online at shows everywhere you can, because it's your book.
Yes. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
that's my deal.
And speaking of going ahead and going out there and making a statement and standing your ground, you've got Little Rock Files is going to be coming up on this Friday. I'm going to give you full screen right now, and you're going to let everybody know why they need to get over there and support this in any way they can right now.
Little Rock Files?
Yes.
So as I said, Little Rock Files is a spin-off to Orange is the New Black. It's a full adventure. And it's the first issue, actually, because there are going to be 3 issues of over 40 pages. And it's going to tell that story of the detective and his young, unexpected sidekick. Her name is Tia, and she's a teenage girl with an attitude. I was about to say the show because it's conceived like a TV show. And so you have this volume that we're going to kickstart starting this Friday. That is the pilot of the show. And so you would get to learn the characters, get to learn that it takes place in 1988. It has this 80s files to it, and we're planning all these cool stuff like very 80s. If people like knew that era, we're gonna have playlists with the music. We're gonna have a bunch of design that looks from like the magazines from that time. We're gonna have the sneakers covers. We're gonna have a lot of other things. We're gonna have a poster book. Who remembers the poster books? It was an old concept. So yeah, we're planning a lot of cool stuff. It's written by Greg Burnham. It's drawn by Quinn McGowan and Marcus Williams, and it has 7 covers. And you absolutely can't miss it if you like comics.
Awesome. And I want to go ahead and interject out there and let everyone know that not only is this project coming up on Friday, but don't miss out on what Fair Square has going on with everything else that's available out there.
Yes.
If you need more information on that, you can find him at the @ that are on here. If you need to get a hold of him directly and can't remember how to either spell the name or get a hold of him that way on social media, reach out to me. I will be more than happy to point you in the direction and get you in contact so that you can get some of these great titles yourself.
And we are present at a lot of shows. So we're going to be in Chicago. We're going to be at the Black Comics Expo in New York at the Schomburg Center mid-April. Then we're going to be in Atlanta for MomoCon. We're going to be at CradleCon here in New York. We're going to be in Denver for Fan Expo, in Philly for Fan Expo, in Dallas for Fan Expo. We're going to be at Eternal Con. We're going to be at Boston Con. We're going to be in a lot of places. So catch us on the road.
There you go. Even more opportunities.
Get to feel the books. Get to feel the books because comics are a sensory experience. You need to feel the quality that we put there. Like, I mean, I can show you the books right now, but even if they look good, wait until you have it in your hands. If they feel even better.
Yes. I absolutely agree. Fabrice, I certainly appreciate you being on the show and being able to spend some time with us, getting us to know you a little bit better and know about your company and know about what you do in this industry with everything and how you are helping create that louder voice of the indies for everybody that's out there that's working with you on this. And
I want to use a few seconds, if you have time, to talk about a book that I'm very much passionate about and that just came out and that needs everyone's support and love. It's called Photonic Man of Light. And Photonic Man of Light is a book that was created in the early 80s in France. It's a superhero book with a soul, a heart, and a big one. The hero has kyphosis. That means that he has a hunchback, and he's surrounded by two sidekicks. One is a Holocaust survivor with psychic powers, and the other is a stray kid with very specific powers, like he can't miss his target when he fires anything. It's wonderful. It's like it's Silver Age. It has a Silver Age feel to it, like you've never seen in decades. And it's the kind of book where you're gonna read the first one, you're gonna say, "Huh, that's pretty good actually," and then it will leave you wanting for more. So take a chance on Photonic Man of Light. This is cover B, but we have also two other covers that are available.
Awesome. Then definitely everyone needs to check into that as well and see what's available in that particular IP. And don't miss out on the other stuff that's coming out there. Four Squares making their name known out there.
Fair Square. Fair Square.
Sorry, Fair Square. That just comes out Four Square. I don't know what. Fair Square.
I get that a lot.
And you'll be seeing them at the cons. Everyone who goes to the cons, they're at most all the cons that everybody's going to. So be looking for them.
Yes.
But again, thank you, Fabrice. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to seeing what all you got out there myself. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, and we're going to go ahead and shut this down for this time. Thank you again for being my guest on Positive Influence. I love saying this after every show. Keep it indie, y'all.